Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the AI Show, the podcast where we delve into the transformative world of AI and its profound impact on human resources. I am Magnum, your host and product director for HROne, and today we are continuing our journey into how AI is revolutionizing recruitment. Last time we talked about varied emotions and experiences professionals have regarding AI and HR, ranging from panic and disbelief to excitement and acceptance. As we move forward, our goal is to help you transition from wherever you are on this spectrum to a place of confidence and expertise. No matter where you stand, remember, this series is designed to guide you through the transformative era of AI and HR. In today's episode, we'll focus on how AI is changing the game in recruitment. We'll explore how AI tools are streamlining candidate sourcing, enhancing resume screening, and making the interview process more efficient and consistent. At the end of the episode, we learn a quick 2-minute hack that without the need of any tools, you can apply, help to make smart and informed decisions around your recruitment practice for 10x returns. I'm thrilled to welcome our today's guest, Aashish Punjabi, to today's episode of the AI Show. Welcome, Aashish.
Thank you for having me over, Magnum.
Ashish is an ultimate jack of all trades. There's practically nothing that this guy hasn't done. From being the chief of staff at Juno to co-founding Talent Deck, Ashish has mastered the art of team building, talent acquisition, and HR wizardry. His diverse journey includes emerging everything from managing operations at Uber to running a board game cafe. With a knack of understanding the nuances of human behavior and a passion for fostering diversity, Ashish is here to share his unique insights on how AI is revolutionizing the hiring process. One more time, Ashish, I want to thank you for joining us on this thrilling Thursday afternoon.
Thank you so much once again. Before we get started, I just want to, put this across audience that all I say are my opinions. Even I'm a learner, probably learning on the go. And if I land up saying something that I should not have, I apologize in advance. This is one exercise that I do whenever I am, appearing in public, and that's the thing that I want to probably do here as well. And yeah, looking forward to next 30 minutes and learn as well from the audience and then the questions.
Make that two of us. Okay. So before we hear from Ashish, I would like to learn from all of you what is the most weird or abstract thing you have asked ChatGPT. Feel free to put your responses in chat comment box. So it could be anything, right? Okay. So until we get a little more responses coming in, I'll pivot to you, Ashish, right? Uh, so how do you, so to kick off things, Ashish, what initially sparked your interest in AI and its potential applications in recruitment you see?
So, to give you more context about my journey, I started my recruiting career at a company called Eureka.ai. And I've been curious about AI ever since. Although AI meant all-rounder intern back then, where I did sales and recruiting, I realized there's a lot of advancements that needed to make AI slightly more, say, user-friendly and say easy to understand because this is happening around 2017, 2018. The primary thing that sparked my curiosity was the idea of a tool that could help me or anyone screen and shortlist the pipeline from say thousands to say 50 to 70.
Oh,
Many ATSs and tools promise that, but don't really solve for it at the like at the core of it. However, there are some handful of tools that have started building on this now, and this is how that was the early AI and recruitment use case that I was thinking of when there was no AI or Chat GPT back in like 2018-19. So that's the premise of the curiosity from the times.
sounds interesting. So, Ashish, I'll share you my 2 cents, right? So, I myself ATS builder, right? And no matter what kind of solutions I want to, I tell you, there's one stark difference between what ChatGPT is able to offer and one of those standard products are not able to offer. I think when you're trying to attract talent, right, the kind of insights that you as a talent acquisition get from your founder, the kind of pipeline that you want to build, what is working in your organizations, which are the employees who leave early, which are the employees that hang around, right? So none of these tools normally had this capability to understand these psyches understanding. And with something like ChatGPT or other open AI tools, right, in a very descriptive or any very conversational way, you could write these things also as some of your prompts around some of the other data that you want to input. And I think ChatGPT is pretty brilliant to understand these human psyches and probably integrate with data and probably give you a little more relevant profiles that may just convert into some real joining and people who will translate into greater success.
No, no, I think that's the use case, that I think makes a lot more sense as we go towards AIX, say HR, AIX recruitment, because at this point in time, there are many tools that are being built, but a lot of it is not on the application layer yet.
Correct.
There I personally know a lot of founders that I keep speaking to who just started building some tech, and when they started recruiting for their first engineer, they just posted and they had like thousands of people reaching out to them. And then they land up building their own small model where they were able to shortlist, say, 30, 40 people. And then they sparked, okay, why don't we make a company out of it? So instead of building some, so they pivoted from building something else
Correct.
to this product because they were like, there's no one who's doing this. We might as well try this and probably solve for something as simple as this.
Correct.
So
I think most of the
that's
yeah, I'm sorry to cut you, right? So I think most of the product companies, right, that's how they start, right? There's a problem that you're yourself facing. You want to solve it yourself, and generally you start seeing this problem all around the world, and you think no one better can do that better than me. And somehow our journey also started in some way that way only. So moving on, right? Ashish, so what are the major challenges and opportunities you think you see around adopting AI for recruitment?
I
Any
think
misconceptions? Yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, I mean, if we structure this in a very, say you also mentioned misconceptions, and I couldn't let you complete the sentence. But this is something that I've spoken to a lot of people over the last few months, and that's why the excitement just popped in to interrupt. But I think most important bit where I see the global companies have like very different way of approach recruiting as a profession, right? In general, in India may not be a place where people are worried about data privacy and in general integration with systems. Uh, I think globally this becomes a problem because a lot of people genuinely care about data privacy,
Correct.
which is basically a primary challenge when it comes to AI. There's integration with systems as well, where you will see there are very limited flexible ATSs or say flexible HRMS tools that exist in the market that can add one layer of AI or one layer of product on the top of their already existing stack. And I mean, these are the two challenges that I've seen across multiple companies. And again, out of these two, there's a third one, which is something that I've noticed is resistance to change from HR itself, like HRs
Correct.
and TAs, or just say anyone at this point in time.
Humans.
There's a mass paranoia around it. People are afraid, and I think this is one of the major reasons where people, even if they are able to overcome the first two, uh, this becomes a primary challenge. In terms of, I mean, people don't look at these opportunities very mindfully when it comes to it, but it's so much more deeper where they can increase their efficiency like 10x. I have seen people who are, I mean, before Calendly came in picture, right?
Correct.
Everyone was just calling up people or emailing people and waiting for their time slots or asking the time slots. Whereas now, after Calendly, you will probably see a lot of like Google implemented the tool, or basically like they built a tool internally which is now helping them schedule. So these small things which AI can do would probably be increasing efficiency at places where people don't really think uh, they should be there. There is so much scope of enhanced matching, what I was talking about a few moments back. At the same time, just the sheer scale at which it will probably work is going to change the way people look at recruiting. uh, and when again it comes to misconceptions, again there is one common misconception that AI will lead to job losses, and then AI is too complex for implementation. Again, same one of the parts where challenges and misconception are probably very similar to uh, each other in nature.
Sounds good. Yeah, you talked about matching, right? So there are two sides to it, right? I personally, I do a lot of hiring for my product and engineering teams, right? And so one is, as you said, it helps probably help highlight relevant CVs, probably cut down the time to screen relevant CVs. But another problem that I normally feel with my engineers is I would always want to build a technology agnostic company, right? Normally whenever an engineer would go and hire, normally he will always look, it's a human tendency, right, to always look for the skills or personalities that are very similar to you. You always want
Correct,
to always hire people who talk the same language, who are able to understand and comprehend. And to build great technology, great product based companies, what you need is need diversity of technologies. You need to be technology or agnostic. Maybe the same technology does not work some other place. So I think while hiring, I have normally started always asking about this AI automated stack scores also, because I see I get a very diverse perspective across the globe when people are looking at this particular role. What are they really looking at, and how are these candidates being perceived in their eyes rather than just my team members' eyes, right? So
correct,
we've
correct.
actually been able to extend a little bit more boundaries about the kind of people that we are able to hire. So that's also opened up. So in a way, the bucket is getting shortlisted also, but it's opening up also in different ways.
Correct, correct, correct. I mean, there is this one more thing that comes in with the AI, right? Which is if you feed too much patterns of, say, certain cohorts, it gets bias of the all the information which is fed into it, and then all you see is the same cohort of people, which again is a challenge where diversity probably will go for a toss, because at this point in time, if you have too much information about a certain cohort of people, you're not able to play around or say higher diversity, which is what we were just discussing at this point in time.
So, Ashish, in fact, you just extended my point, right? See, even when we were trying to recruit as human, right, we were trying to bring in the same bias the technology also doing to that. When I go back to human and say, okay, maybe see, you're always hiring this kind of skill set. What I just want to just extend towards this kind of skill set, right? The human may or may not hear me, right? But as educated talent acquisition, if you interact with the tool, you tell us that, okay, I understand this bias. I want over and above this data, right, I want you to consider the XYZ factors also. I think it can also help you bring in the diversity, take their technology bias away if we give it the right inputs and prompts to it.
Correct.
Sounds good. Ashish, moving on to another topic, right? How do you think some smaller product companies or maybe SMEs can leverage AI in recruitment process?
I mean, this is a very interesting question that I was just chatting with a early stage founder who's not trying to hire more than say 15, 20 people a year. And when they just go about say posting it on LinkedIn or one or two job boards, I think it becomes a task, because at the end of the day, you do not have like a army of recruiters solving for it. Either you
Correct.
are engaging a consultant, or everyone has their own fair share of struggle when they are figuring out their team, and they don't have to hire too many people, but decent amount of people. I
Correct.
think AI in general, if there is a platform, I mean, there are many ATSs which now have started implementing this, where you open a job role and you will probably see a lot of automated job ads across multiple job boards. I think this is where AI was like, people were trying to build AI, but they started building like a place where they can just amplify jobs. But coupling AI with it, where we are able to implement chatbots for interview scheduling, general Q&A, because a lot of times initial conversation is literally about how much are you currently making, and how much of your, what's your expectation, what's your notice period. Simple things like these probably will help elevate uh, the experience where people are chatting with people and getting the basic information sorted. But once person is in the conversation, I think AI has solved one thing very massively, where uh, earlier when people used to wait for feedback, say I have pushed a candidate for a interview, and I have to wait for like a day or two or three, maybe, or maybe sometimes a week for a feedback from a hiring manager, because the person is busy, and you cannot blame them for being busy, because they're of course working, and then they are also recruiting for the team. I think feedback as a thing has become a lot more easier, because there has been like bots who are sitting with you in a meeting, recording and basically taking information of
Okay.
candidate and what you're saying, and then you just have pros, cons, important pointers of individuals made in a very structured way. All
Very right.
one person has to respond as if the person is a strong yes, weak yes, strong no, weak no. I mean, whatever your selection criteria, or the whatever options that you probably give in your system. This is probably something that is the easiest way to go about getting feedback from people, because at the end of the day, when you're a small company, people expect you to close the loop as early as possible. And this is something that a very good friend of mine is building on the entire stack, where we are solving for it in a very beautiful way, where they're saving time for the candidate, because candidate is no longer insecure about if they are going in the next round or not. At the same time, have like a constructive feedback on what they need
Correct.
to improve. So I think these small things, where bigger companies won't be able to adapt to this quickly, because they have like ton of
Correct.
things to get approvals on. Like I said, data privacy is a thing, and then a lot of implementation headache. But smaller companies and smaller product companies or SMEs have this advantage where they can move quickly compared to bigger companies, and probably get these things in their uh, what do we say, system early on. At the same time, make their life easier, as well as candidates' life easier.
Sounds good. Great. Cool. So just taking so I'll personally share, right. So whenever I normally, even I was wondering, right. I've heard about all of these solutions being adopted in some larger companies, something like an automated calling bot, video CVs,
Correct.
auto skimming, right. And a lot of these solutions that we are today hearing about, talking about, are expected to change the way people are hiring or way will hire, will become, normally they stay a lot more relevant, right, when they are bigger organizations where maybe you're getting 1,000 applications, 100 applications, and the idea is to, and you as a recruiter are normally struggling to connect with all of them, and probably the problem statement is how to cut short, right. But I will just want to quickly share a quick cue with all the people here, right. Maybe even if you're working with a 10, 20, 50 people organization, a small quick tip how you as a recruiter can start using chat gpt to make your recruitment a little quick, right. And this is right. So today, right, I first of all I'd like to share, right, I've always made a rule of my life, right, anything that I share with my founder, I always run it past chat gpt, I paste it there, right, and I ask chat gpt to quickly do a quick vet, decorate it, and then only I share it with my CEO. Similarly, what recruiters can try doing is whenever they're trying to hire trying to work on a profile for any strategic opening they want to share with CEO or the hiring manager or director, right? What they can do is they can simply take out that CV, just put it on Chat GPT, and ask Chat GPT to just share an elevator pitch for the candidate, and you could just see your jump rate, your candidate shortlisting rate, your interview scheduling rate will simply jump by a quick 2x 3x, just serving a quick crisp intelligent bio to the hiring manager. Fair enough. Moving on. Ashish, we have heard about how host of technologies are coming up today, what all different tools one can subscribe for. But I personally believe a tool is only as good as the user is. So I would like to learn from you, what is the mind shift that you think is needed as a recruiter, as a human, and what skills do you think will become crucial for HR professionals to stay relevant or probably ace this AI game?
Well, if you ask me about like a tool that I probably will subscribe, I do, of course, is GPT and Claude. Both of them because life is a lot more easier when you don't have to worry about simple menial tasks. And I mean it. Like at this point in time, I don't really write my emails. I just go about drafting and giving a command to Chat GPT and then have a first draft ready, work on that draft, and then again give it to GPT that make it more simpler and crisper before I send it to people, because I think that's where we are headed. Of course, your value of writing a good copy is of course there, but it makes your life a lot more simpler. At least when it comes to simple, commands like grammar check. I think we like at this point in time, like our office administrator at Juno, right? His English is decent, but when he's writing, of course, it's not the best. But because of Chat GPT, I've added his responsibilities, like given more responsibilities, because now he's able to respond to emails really well. So I think very simple things where you can probably like just give grammar check command and just write an email. Simple things make life easier, so why not take make the most out of it? And what you mentioned, right? I think what HR professionals need to embrace is uh, uh, like they have to embrace AI, of course, without being afraid. And I think one thing that any HR or every HR or every TA should probably keep in mind is that there is no replacement of personalized efforts of recruiting or say building a team. I think AI can make your life a lot more efficient, optimize say a lot of things across the recruitment cycle or say HR BPing cycle, but it will not change the way or the essence of the function, which is the human behavior and how humans operate and how humans make things a lot more personal. Uh, like just surprising thing is at Juno, our offer to joining ratio is almost 90%,
Wow.
and I post about it aggressively because this has been the case since day one. Uh, because we've kept things a lot more personal than uh, just letting it be a transactional relationship. Uh, and I genuinely feel that's what people should be doubling down on. Most of HR and TA is basically common sense, and I don't think it's rocket science, honestly. But
Correct.
I think people just need to double down on, uh, you know, being a lot more personalized in the way they are looking at recruiting and HR in general.
Sounds good. So, Ashish, in fact, I think I know I'm advocating and professing use of AI, but if you look at it, right, only 10%, 15% of the complete talent acquisition cycle, AI is today being applied, no matter whatever fancy technologies we're looking at. I think it's majorly shortlisting of candidate, just highlighting the most top relevant candidate is where AI is actually coming to play, and which is majorly a data oriented job, right? Where you have 500,000 applications and you really want to find that key talent. That is majorly where AI is
Correct.
coming into play. But other than that, right, just understanding which are the candidates that would actually blossom in your environment, which are the candidates that are actually aligned with your core values of the organization. Even when you shortlist a candidate, ensuring the kind of candidate engagement experience that you give him, the belief and comfort that you believe in, that this is the place where you are meant to be, right? So if you're going to look at it, right, there's 6 7 different kind of transactions interactions we are having, right, from assessments to scheduling interviews to doing these offer negotiations and maybe post that and pre onboarding formalities. I think this is pretty much still where I don't think human can still go away. So it is only just the 10, 15, 20%. And unfortunately, right, this 10, 15, 20%, if you're going to talk about all the major recruiters who work at least in their nascent years, right, I think they're good 70, 80% time today going around filtering the candidate. And I think if this time can be cut down to 1/10, they can probably increase their value, investing in this time of creating value, of investing time in creating a relationship with the candidate that actually translates to bringing the right candidate into your ecosystem.
Correct. I think
In,
that's very rightly put in, how recruiting is at this point in time and how it cannot just change with too much AI also coming in place.
Correct, correct. So interestingly, Ashish, you touched about a tool called Claude.ai. I normally don't hear about it, and I personally use it. I would just want to hear about you. So anyone who has gone to Claude.ai, he's actually tried and fought and tried to be friends with ChatGPT. He's at times not enjoyed a part of the experience, and that's how he might have fumbled to Claude AI. I would still like to learn a little bit more about you. When would you go to ChatGPT, and when would you go to Claude.ai?
So I think when I have to write more personalized copies, I think I depend more on Claude because I keep telling it to everyone that Claude is way more
You.
humanized. Yeah, I mean it feels more, and of course, after a point you are able to get it that yeah,
Correct.
this is GPT and this is Claude, but like GPT has a very clear way of making things like it will sound AI, but if someone is using Claude and someone hasn't used Claude, I think someone who hasn't used Claude, of course, because very limited people are using it at this point in time, won't be able to differentiate between original copy and Claude copy. Like it's and if you are able to do well with, of course, Word, of course, tweak minor things around, it will seem like human has written that copy with all sorts of emojis and all sorts of jazz, makes things a lot more
Right.
humanized compared to chat GPT.
No, no. Ashish, I think bingo, right? That's why I brought this question for all those who don't know, right? Claude.ai, even I'm a big professor of Claude.ai. It sounds very human, it sounds very personal. So if I have to, I personally, if I have to do some data analysis, if I have to feed in some data, if I have to construct some presentation, I would normally bank onto Chat GPT. But if I have to write an email or there has to be a personal interaction, I think it is the go-to tool even for myself. And I think for all the people in the audience, right, if Ashish, someone who's extremely proficient with the language, if he is really relying on tools like ChatGPT and Claude AI to write his emails, I think it's a very strong use case and a motivation for all of us to go and knock on these tools and probably be a little more able to do some of these tough interactions normally at times we just run away from. Cool. Ashish, we'll hop on to our second last section. That's a quick rapid fire, just 3 to 4 questions, right? Ashish, I've heard, I remember from our one of our personal conversations, right? You had actually started up a board game cafe that got me very intrigued and exciting. So, what is a board game that you see is very near to recruitment, and how do you draw this
I I
parallels?
have I would say very plain or simple game, which is Monopoly. People are just buying each other off. We are buying instead of buying like land in Jaipur or New York. We are getting humans who are getting job done for us. So probably the closest I can think of is Monopoly.
No, no. It's in fact it's a very good parallelism, right? If we, I think Monopoly is a game that was invented somewhere around 60s and 70s. At that time, right, everything that mattered was a piece of a land. Everyone wanted to acquire more and more land. You wanted to grow crops, right? Since this service-based company, product-based companies, tech roles have come in, I think
Correct.
human is the new monopoly you really want to have, right? So quite a parallelism you drew there. Uh, Ashish, any key benefit of AI in recruitment that often gets overlooked?
I think we talked about it like two things that I think are like a killer use cases. One is again matchmaking in terms of most relevant candidates. I think it is the most relevant use case for AI. Another is interview note, like AI based, interview note taker, which is probably taking all the information and summarizing all the inputs from conversation and sharing it with you. Makes your life easier, makes your time more, I mean, makes your life a lot more easier compared to writing your own copy of entire experience that one has with the interview. So one is that. I think these are the two use cases that I think one should make the most out of it, like no matter what. Easiest to get started with.
Okay, the last question, the most popular one. Will it take jobs away?
I don't think so. I mean, of course, if you're looking for a recruitment coordinator kind of job, yes, I think this role probably will be. This role should probably not exist in the next say 2 3 years, because a lot of things around communication, a lot of things around scheduling, a lot of things around wherever there is Google and calendars are involved. I think people will be able to manage it without a recruitment coordinator altogether. So this is one job. If you're in this role, try to figure out a way out into recruiting, full-fledged recruiting uh, or sourcing. Just being very candid.
Sounds great. So before we hear closing thoughts from Ashish, let me share you a very quick hack that you can apply for immediate dividends. The whole idea of this exercise is I want you to just go to this session, take another 15 minutes, and just try and go to Chat GPT and explore yourself, learn, befriend Chat GPT, and at the end of it, have something very amazing. So all of us, right, we struggle to understand what is the different sourcing models for different kinds of profiles that are working for us. We struggle to comprehend why joining rates may be high in different departments and low in some other departments or city. We often crunch numbers, devise strategies to increase the metrics. But let's be real, right? Our human minds are at most things unilateral dimension. We're not you're tuned to do a cohort analysis with multiple variables and identify what is that small tweak that we can do be a game changer in terms of spiking offer acceptance rates or new join show ups or maybe onboarding of candidates at lower CTCs, something we all are extremely excited about, right? So just to understand this a little better, right, I'll just share my screen and I'll just showcase you a small exercise I did for my own department, my own organization, right? So what I did is, and I'll encourage you all, right, what to do. You, all of you, you should actually go to your own preferred choice of HR tech platform you have got access to. You guys go and download probably all the offers that you guys have made over the last 2 years. He talked about some data privacy, right? Do not forget to cleanse the data, take all the phone numbers, names, all the PI data, email IDs away from data. And what I just did is I went and upload my data of last 200 offers that I made for the R&D department. Unfortunately, our offer rate is way less than what Ashish talked about. Even it's less than half of it. Maybe there's something we have here to learn from Ashish, probably maybe some other day. And so what I did is I went and I actually uploaded this whole data and I just asked it, right, can you do an analysis of top factors when candidate joins and when candidate does not join? Okay. The best part about Chat GPT, what I really love is it tries to teach me like a kid that how is he approaching this problem? What are the factors? So it'll just tell you, right? Okay, these are the few columns you have put me, right? Okay, what I'll do is I'll quickly inspect the data. I'll do a comparison in summary statistics. I'll run a logistic regression analysis model and what other steps he'll follow, what kind of algo is running, and then it'll serve me as an output. So the very first output told me, right, it gave me a regression coefficient where it told me that 0.436 is the weightage of being CTC, 0.325 of someone having children or not, 0.28 is your hiring cost, and rest of the factors you look, it was almost like zero point 0, zero point 0.01, 0.14. So the next thing that I told to Chat GPT is, right, I told it. So I ran through what are the recommendations, what are the influences. Most of the recommendations were around rolling out offers at a higher CTC. So I told ChatGPT, right, these recommendations look very general. At higher CTC, you'll always get more closure, right? I want you to do a little more of cohort analysis where the joining rate is high and low, and what else can I do? So it made it another attempt, right? And again, whatever the responses came through, I was not very happy about with these responses. But then again, I came back to ChatGPT again, just the way I have a dialogue with one of my friends or my peers, right? So I tried, okay, can you do a cohort analysis basing on position and location and share your recommendations? And interestingly, some good recommendations and some good analyses starting coming out where it was telling me that both locations are showing almost similar joining rate for software engineers. It also told me that my product managers, what are two profiles where maybe CTC and better perks is the only answer possible, but maybe what are the other roles? Maybe even you can cut down the CTC and still you'll not see the joining roads dropping. And it told me some more analyses. Again, I was not very excited about whatever the answer that came through. I again went back to ChatGPT. I said, based on data, right? I asked him for recommendations. Again, I was not happy. I'm just telling you how I'm trying to play and interact with ChatGPT. And now I'll move to my very last interaction, and probably so what the last question I told him was again on similar something on similar lines. I said, okay, can you do again a final analysis, making some range buckets on CTC experience, joining bonuses, relocation range buckets? And it told me, okay, this is I he will explain me, okay, I created this kind of a group. I created this kind of a group. It will create me four combinations of groups on these three, four, five different parameters. And I'll quickly walk you through the final analyses that I got through that we have actually also started embracing. This is something exercise we did 4 to 5 months back, and it'll tell me, right, okay, continue. So it told me, right, first of all, that your external candidate source is actually working very good for lower CTCs, but and your LinkedIn platform is performing very bad. So maybe your LinkedIn platform is working extremely good for high position jobs, and this is where you should actually leverage it. Then it also told me a little bit of analysis on notice period. Your highest joining rate is when your notice period is 4 7 days. Your joining rates are normally good even in case of 30, 45, 60 days. But the moment it goes above to 70, 89, it'll go extremely bad. Then some other analyses also. So again, right, at this point of time, a lot of these findings, there were a lot of other good 30, 40 recommendations it came with. At this point of time, a lot of these things may be looking extremely general to you. It may not be looking very relevant to you. But when I was looking and perceiving it from my eyes, a lot of things that we were doing wrong, they were actually startling, they were actually screaming. And I sat down with my talent acquisition team, and I actually made a few subtle corrections, and you'll not believe, right, there were a couple of openings that we were struggling to close, and we could really see some good traction movement coming on some of these things. So why I shared the screen, there is no gimmick, no signs here, right? All I wanted to showcase you is any kind of problem you guys have, right? Anything that you're running away from, any kind you don't have an answer, you ask it. Many a times the answer you'll get, you may not be very excited or spiked with them. Just keep talking just the way you talk to a human, to talk to your co-peer, to your friend, to your mother and father. After 5 6 7 8 interactions, probably you'll fall back to a place where you'll be able to relate to what ChatGPT is saying, and you might just land up on something that's extremely exciting and extremely relevant for you as well. What do you think about it, Ashish? Is it something very
I mean,
mundane?
that was a very good exercise that you did. I think a lot of people should try this. They should take a set of data and probably try pushing it into ChatGPT 4.0. Luckily, it's like if you go about it, I think it's free, I guess, for the first few searches, and then I think you have to pay if you have to go in depth. But definitely a good exercise for anyone who wants to, learn about how to just look at data. A lot of people it's very easier to probably just go about starting with like 10 offers that you've rolled out and put that information and see if what your judgment is of data is very similar to what GPT has to suggest. But I also see a couple of people asking a couple of tools in the comment sections on LinkedIn. So happy to go ahead and share whatever you folks need that I use. Please drop me a message on LinkedIn. I'm happy to go ahead and share these things.
Okay, somehow I'm extremely sorry to the complete audience. Somehow I was looking at the private chat since the start of the session, and I was actually amazed why the comments are not coming up today. So give me 10 seconds to quickly skim the comment section. Until then, Ashish, I would love to hear some closing comments from you.
I mean, this session was amazing. I mean, when I was getting into this session, I wasn't expecting it to be this brief. We covered a lot of things in general, which were some basic, and I think at the end, I think you showed the real way of implementing as well, or basically figuring out just taking data and helping someone out with decision making around certain things. Overall, a good experience. Looking forward to all the things that people have to share. Do share your feedback though on this conversation.
Sounds good. We'll take quick 2 minutes to skim the questions. I'm extremely sorry I missed them totally today, right? Someone is talking about, right, how successful are bots in scheduling sourcing. Are there any case studies? To be very true, there are very extremely point solutions that are really available. They're extremely potent in auto scheduling your interviews. Also, they can actually go and do uh, automated calling. Also, do your quick 3 4 5 question checklist. Unfortunately, even today, we as humans at times we receive these calls, still 10 15% is only the rate at which people are receiving and answering these calls. But again, right, wherever you see someone actually answering this call, you can really hope and believe the intent of that candidate uh, for this particular job openings is extremely high. I'll share you some questions also in personal message, or maybe a little later of some of the tools that you may want to go. Similarly, someone has also asked, give examples of any tools or bots that can read a JD and then set a scan of CVs to shortlist candidates. Again, right? LinkedIn is already doing that for us. Naukri is also doing that for us. I just show you on Chat GPT, right? If you actually go down, if you have a JD, just go and put it on Chat GPT. If you have downloaded 10 CVs from Naukri or any other source, right? Just go and paste them, and trust me, just the kind of tool that you're expecting, you'll also be able to do that. um, so again, right, in the interest of the time, I'm sorry we could not take the questions as of now, but surely maybe somewhere down the line, right, I'll connect back on LinkedIn and probably answer some of these questions. To sum up this session, right, I'll want to share a quick personal experience. I have a 5-year-old who is actually obsessed with constructing long sentences. I tell him every day, before you can write easy sentence, you have to learn words. Before you can learn words, you have to learn alphabets. But trust me, it's a lot of pain and effort for him to pick this. I think all of us, we are at a similar cusp. We all are learning this new language of AI and writing alphabets. It's a very painful process, but the day we do, I really believe the life and work can be 10x happening. AI is smart, it's turning smarter by the second. Its IQ is omnidirectional, while our capability to expand knowledge, ability, and expertise is limited to a few disciplines. I believe for an educated discussion to happen, two people need to be smart. I dated a girl who talked with me literature. I reciprocated poetry. There was another girl I dated. She said, my kuchu all day. I said, my puchu all day. So if we guys are finding AI dumb, maybe AI is also finding us dumb too. My 2 cents are keep interacting with it, treat it like a human, your pal, and see where it takes you. Be it HR or life. Thank you, Ashish, and everyone for connecting us today. It's been a great session. Signing off, Magnum, Product Director, HR1, your workplace, your way. Thank you.
All right, thank you, folks.
Good day.